How many people have more internet computer protocol than me? How many does it take to be in the very top? I was wondering these things, and I'll show you the exact analytics right here using two different websites. One is icp.deliacapital.com, which will be linked in the description. And then the other one is the official Internet Computer Explorer dashboard. If you don't have your ICP in a wallet and you're holding it on exchange, you will not be actually counted in these metrics. So please put your ICP in the network nervous system and hold your ICP in the network nervous system so that you're not at risk of losing it in exchanges. So let's take a look at how many people have non-zero balances in ICP. Right now, there are 487,000 addresses on Internet Computer Protocol that have a non-zero balance. Now, this doesn't mean that this is the amount of unique people we have. It means sometimes I have several ICP wallets that have non-zero balances in them. So this is the number of all wallets combined. Let's go down. How many addresses have more than one ICP? Now, generally, you're not going to leave more than one ICP in too many wallets, although I have at least two, maybe three that have more than one ICP. So right now, there's only 100,000 addresses that have more than one ICP in the wallet. Keep in mind, exchanges where a bunch of people have different amounts of ICP will be in cold storage and will not be counted on this because one single exchange address will have a huge number of smaller balances in it, which is why you always need to get your ICP off of exchanges. Now, this means if you've got more than one ICP just in wallet addresses, you are in the top 25%. If you have more than 10 ICP in your wallet, there's just 62,000 wallet addresses that have more than 10 ICP. Now, that is mostly liquid ICP. I wondered, well, how many if people are staking it? So right now, about half of Internet Computer Protocol, or ICP, is staked in wallets, and the neurons that are either not dissolving or in the process of dissolving. Right now, if you have at least 10 ICP staked, there are only 11,000 total neurons that have more than 10 ICP staked right now. So if you have more than 10 ICP staked, you are already up there in the top in terms of getting a return, and there's not that many more people than you. So if we look at addresses with a balance greater than 100, and what's nice to see, we're seeing some sharp growth metrics on these as well. If you look back just a few months ago, we had on 10 ICP, we had 51,000 addresses just a few months ago, and now we're up to 62,000. That is a difference of, that's 20% growth in just less than about 3 months. That is fantastic growth in the number of addresses with greater than 10 ICP. And we see similar numbers across the entire rest of the ecosystem. Balances greater than one actually grew about the same, and so did number of addresses with the non-zero balance. That maybe grew slower, but we're seeing fantastic growth, 20% in just a few months on the actual ICP, not in exchanges. That is awesome. So if you have greater than 100, there are 32,000 addresses right now greater than 100, which is less than 10% of total addresses with the balance. So if you have greater than 100 ICP, in terms of the total wallet addresses that have a balance, you are well into the top 10%. And people holding addresses with greater than 100 ICP is up very strongly with about 20% or so, between 10 and 20% growth in the last 3 months, which is outstanding. Now let's start to look at some of the whale addresses. If you have more than 1,000 ICP in a single wallet, this was 3 months ago 12,000. It is now up to, it is from 12,000, low 12,000s up to high 12,000s now. So this one getting less than 10% growth on bigger levels of accumulation here, which this is now around like $10,000 or so today. Also had some people, looks like they were taking some profits here, and a significant amount of addresses with 1,000 breaking down. However, some of those could have been moving into wallets and staking and investing in projects, etc. However, we've seen a strong consistent growth of maybe 5% in bigger wallet balances, and then less than balances greater than 10,000. This is so kind of small. There's only 3,000 or 4,000 or so that have less than 10,000. We actually saw these take a bit of a dump here and cash out. And then with greater than 100,000, you've actually seen an increase in these from 695 3 months ago up to 707. So we have seen some whale accumulation in addresses with balances greater than 100,000. Now, what's interesting to me is how many people I've got. 2,907 ICP myself. So if we look at this, there's probably less than 10,000 people or so that have a balance greater than that if we can extrapolate the difference between here and here. I was also curious how many people are staking at least 100 ICP. Right now, there are only 9,600 people that are staking 9,600 unique addresses or neurons, which could in some cases be multiple people. There are 9,600 neurons that are staking at least 100 ICP. And you'll notice the dissolve delay on these ranging from a few months, but mostly multiple years. If I want to look at how many have more than me, this drops to there's only 4,300 neurons that have more ICP than I do, which makes this an incredibly small community at this point. So I put all of my crypto into ICP a few months ago, and I've got 2,907 locked. There's only 4,300 neurons that actually have more than that. You've got a decent amount dissolving next to me, but what's most interesting is to go up to the very top and see the biggest neuron. So if you want to look, the very biggest neuron has about 5 million ICP. It is not dissolving, and it has 8 years. The next biggest one, 4.6 million ICP, 8 years, not dissolving. Next one, 3 million ICP. And then down here, another 3 million. So the top 5 wallets in ICP in terms of neurons that are staked, it's relatively small. This is a good distribution. The top wallet only has 1% of the entire supply, which is in terms of staked neurons, that is outstanding. You see a lot bigger metrics than that. You see a lot more centralization in most of the rest of the places. And then you go down from here, it actually has less than 1% of the total supply staked. And then quickly you come down, if you get out of the top 5, we're getting into like 0.3% staked. And there's only about 20 or so wallets that have at least 1 million ICP staked, with as 8 years being very common in the top. And then down here, we've got some shorter amounts and then a whole section of neurons with hundreds of thousands of ICP staked for 8 years. So if you look at the total supply that's staked in ICP in the network nervous system, this looks really good. The supply metrics on this look great. You've got almost half of the supply is staked, with 80% or so of that is not even becoming unstaked. If it's not dissolving, that means it is not in the process of being unlocked. For example, if you have ICP staked for 8 years like I do and it's not dissolving, that means the 8 years is just constant until you start dissolving, then the timer starts. So I have 134 million ICP that is locked for 8 years and is not dissolving. And that is some of the best metrics I see anywhere in a big project, for huge amounts of the supply locked and not going anywhere. We haven't had a lot of token unlocks in ICP, as you've had 121 million were staked and dissolving a couple years ago, but now we're down to 46 million. And meanwhile, we had essentially all of the unlocks have effectively become locked, and most of them for 8 years. So if you look inside the token distribution and where things are locked, right now, ICP is still incredibly small in terms of the amount of capital you put in versus the position you get and how many other people. And at the same time, there's a lot of supply locked. When you combine this with the best technology in crypto, And if you go to the governance, you are in a position to be getting 16% estimated rewards for locking your ICP up. You can just copy your neuron address and see the actual amount you are getting by searching for your neuron in the Internet Computer Dashboard. It'll show you the exact rate of return you're getting, and you can look up any other neuron and see exactly the rate of return it's getting. You get an age bonus. So right now I'm getting 16.3% on my ICP locked up for 8 years. That's 1.3 ICP a day I'm getting in maturity. So right now there's only 100 and some thousand addresses that have more than one ICP total, and I'm actually getting that much on average every day, cranked out for having 2,900 ICP locked. So ICP right now, this, when you combine the technology that is by far the best in crypto, and I've done a lot of videos about that, with a look inside of how much ICP is staked and the balances of different addresses, this absolutely looks like a dream come true to me, which is why I'm all in on it. If you found this helpful, I'm a full-time YouTuber. Check the links in the descriptions for all my channels. Watch some more videos, and JerryBanfield.com has more for you.